So anyway, it's been quite a year of change and growth at CMP. I'll just kind of... And I chose as a theme for to share a few thoughts today, the idea of progress. And there's been progress at a number of levels. And one of them is, you may remember last year around this time, a big issue was the new electronic time clock we got in the shop. And there was a lot of kerfuffle about it, a lot of guys were complaining about it. And it's been a year now, and I'm really happy to say that nobody has put their fist through the screen or ripped it off the wall and smashed it on the ground. So I would say that is real progress in one area. And I think that just says that we're all getting used to navigating through 17 screens 5 or 10 times a day to punch in and out of jobs. And so we're a really adaptable group here. It's really good. The second area of progress happened about a month ago. One morning I came into the shop and I saw a young lady with purple hair, pink work boots, and a huge smile on her face. And I said to myself, this is going to be good. And that was the day our new cleanup and painter lady, Carly, came into the shop. And I just have to say, Carly has been the perfect person for the job. Carly has been cleaning areas of the shop that have not been cleaned, I don't think, since we got there. And she's really detailed in her painting. She's doing a bang-up job. And all the time with a smile on her face and a skip in her step. So, and purple hair to boot. And so I thought to myself, I thought it would be fun if I could start a new tradition every Christmas. And I'm giving myself full authority to make this choice to award an Employee of the Year. And so this year's Employee of the Year goes to Carly Lucas. Well, another area of progress this year has been that our illustrious foreman on the vendor side got married, Rob Wright. And I have to admit, though, that I had some mixed emotions as the day of the wedding was getting near. Probably not as many mixed emotions as his wife, Lydia, was having. But what was bothering me was that the time was getting closer, and Rob had not come around yet and asked me to be his best man. He would come out in the shop once in a while and make his rounds, and I'm thinking, I wonder if he's going to come over and ask me. And he didn't come and ask me again and again. I was feeling frustrated, and then I started to try to console myself in the idea, well, maybe the reason he's not asking me is he's going to ask Bob to be his man. And because I've been like a brother to Rob all these years, but Bob has been a father figure. And he's taught him so much. But the wedding came and went, and neither of us were chosen. So I was kind of left a little befuddled. How did you feel about that, Bob? Did you feel miffed about that? You were okay with it? But Rob and I have had our issues over the years, to be sure. But I think we're getting along really well these days. And I like to keep in mind a really important concept from couples counseling, and that is that every relationship has if you will, an emotional bank account. And every time we have a positive exchange with another person, every time we engage them in a helpful or friendly way, say and do nice things for each other, it's like we put a deposit in the emotional bank account of our relationship with a person. And every time we have a negative exchange with a person, every time we do something mean, or we're neglectful, or we say or do something nasty to another person, then we make a withdrawal from the emotional bank account of the relationship we have with someone. And so by the time a lot of couples come for counseling, their emotional bank account is bankrupt. They're in overdraft. And but I would say that Rob and I have been making a lot of positive deposits in our bank account of our relationship, and we're getting along. So, wouldn't you say, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay. Glad we're on the same page. Well, of course, the biggest area, tangible area of progress in the past year has been the new addition on the building. And this is an idea which has been talked about off and on for a number of years. And I think it was about in April that the final decision to build the addition was made. And to be honest, when the decision was made, I was feeling a little bit skeptical, because at that time, right around that time, the announcement was made we were building the addition, and shortly after, we found out that we were not going to get a huge sell from Sano. I don't know if it was a CRV or the Civic. We were really banking on it, and we didn't get it. And then I think at the same time, we found out we were not going to get a big Mototech job. And so I was feeling a little bit anxious about the idea. Well, here we are moving ahead with a big building. We just lost a couple big jobs. But nevertheless, the decision to build went forward. And since then, a lot of work has come into the shop on both sides. And in fact, I think we probably have more work now than we ever have, if I'm not mistaken. And so I just want to acknowledge acknowledge the entrepreneurial spirit and the faith of the leadership of CMP, particularly the faith in the face of adversity, of difficult circumstances, of Rob, Dan, and Henry to go ahead and build the building for the sake of the future of CMP, for our prosperity, for our job security, and so on. So another way I'd like to perhaps look at that is that it's almost like they had this idea in their mind: build it and they will come. Right? Build the building and the work will come. And that's exactly what happened. So, a number of you may remember, was it last year or 2 years ago? There's a lot of musical talent here at CMP, and the musicians of CMP got together and they put together an album of songs. And the name of the band, they called themselves Gray Rainbow. And so this is the original band, the original album that came out a couple of years ago, Gray Rainbow, and the musicians are here. But this idea of build it and they will come really connected with the band, and they felt very inspired, and they decided to get together and come up with a new album. And there's been a bit of a lineup change in the band. You may remember that Bob Kinsey, he played the kazoo and the washboard. Well, he has left the band. Bob's been following up. He's got a real passion for the bagpipes. So he's kind of gone off on his own, and he's getting a lot of piping gigs. He's doing weddings and the odd funeral and stuff like that. And Nelson Leet has joined the band. He's doing backup vocals and playing tambourine and harmonica. And Carly is obviously very creative, very artistic, and she has joined Gina, Lydia, and Tammy in the very lovely CMP backup singers. And so here is the album here. It's called Gray Rainbow, Build It and They Will Come. So, and they changed a few things. Like this was their stage on the first album, and they've kind of cleaned up their act a little bit now. So once again, they did the retro thing, right? They came out, they actually did it on vinyl, not just CD. They wanted to do the retro thing, and it is on CD as well. But it's a concept album. It's not just a collection of mushy love songs and stuff like that. It's a concept album, and what they are trying to do is, just kind of capture the vibe, the essence of what it means to work at CMP year after year, day after day. And there's a sub-theme that goes through the album, and it wrestles with that great unanswerable existential question at CMP. And that is, why are the offices painted in nice warm earth tones and the shop is painted in depressing gray? So I'd like to just talk a little bit about some of the songs on the album. And as many of, I like doing this, and I know Al loves it, because Al loves the story behind the songs and the meaning of the songs. But the first song was written by Nelson Leet, and it's called Let's Celebrate. And because, as Nelson let us know, he's Portuguese and they like to celebrate any sort of thing. So it's a really upbeat tune called Let's Celebrate. Octavio wrote the second song, and it's just a little ditty. It's 47 seconds, and it's actually supposed to be on the first album, but they just kind of didn't make the cut on the first album, and it's called Tis Mechanical. Another song was written by Rob Wright, and it's got a real kind of Pink Floydish kind of vibe to it, and it's called I Was Attacked by a Killer Drone. And of course the title track of the album, Build It and They Will Come, is really kind of got a really upbeat pop sound, a lot of chording on the pentatonic scale, and very optimistic in its words and its mood. Steve Bell wrote a tune. He's very creative. He's the one who came up with the album cover, and a very artistic sort of fellow, and he wrote a tune called All Right. And Daryl and Bruce collaborated on another song. It's called Heading Back to Mototech. And then my Central American traveling partner, the quasi-team leader on the Bender side, Craig Broadbent, he penned a tune. It's called The Gauges Will Be Late, but the Due Date Stays the Same. So, and there's a few more tunes on there, but, you know, definitely check out the album. I think there's going to be, you know, they're selling them in the hall, and they'll be signing them, and definitely a lot of great tunes there. So, this is the part of the year when I get to present Dan and Henry and Rob with a very special gift from all of us, if you wouldn't mind coming up. So, thank you for being willing to build it and have faith that they will come. You can open it.
Whoa. And when he says, thank you, everybody. And you know, it's interesting, when he says build it and he will come, the word that he will come, we said that a few times.
Yeah, we did.
In our meetings.
We've talked
actually,
about
so
that.
it's actually
Oh, very nice.
Oh,
very
nice.
cool.
This is the new machine nameplate.
Yeah, the machine nameplate.
Price just went up for that, yeah.
Very, very nice.
That's cool.
Thanks,
guys.
Very nice. Thanks. Spelled CMP.
Yeah, it smells good.